Hey guys, what's going on? This is Panstar Dragon, and today we'll be doing the top 5 best mid laners for solo queue. In this tier list, I'll actually be considering champions who do very well with Luden's Echo. As in the 5.6 mid tier list, I didn't consider Luden's Echo on too many champions except for like Katarina, but now it's starting to pop up in some games. A lot of people are starting to buy it, and also there are some champions that are starting to pop up in the mid lane because of this. And of course, there will be a lot of honorable mentions in this video, and with all that being said, let's get started. Alright, so first up we got Medusa. Now Medusa is really good just because she scales really good into the mid game and late game, as once she gets a bit of AP, her passive stacks up, and a few items, she becomes really terrifying in team fights and is a huge threat unless taken care of. She also has a defensive move, so it's really hard to engage on her since she can just ult you and then stun everyone in front of her. She does have a short range on her spells, and she really doesn't have any escapes, so people who can burst her really quickly and deal with her fast are good against her. But she is rewarded for having a lot of damage in her kit, also sustaining herself with the E, so she has a lot of tankiness because of that. And she can go tier and get the Seraph Embrace for even more tankiness. One thing I don't like about her is in order for her to get really big, she needs some items, and of course, getting into that mid game and late game, so her passive is around 250 or maybe even 500 stacks. So if she does kind of fall behind, she's a bit lackluster, but other than that, she's really good. Next at number 4, we do have the Shredder. And by Shredder, I mean from the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles and not the Goblin Shredder from Warcraft 3. Anyways, so Zed, he's pretty good. Hasn't been touched yet and is indirectly buffed from the Blade of Ruin King buff this patch. Just a little lifesteal, but of course not by that much. And what's he good at? Assassinating squishies because of, the death mark and killing people with just your Blade of Ruin King, E, Q, and an auto attack. He also gets his power spike once he's level 11 and starts split pushing and can cause pressure on that one lane since he can probably 1v1 anyone in the game at that point. Or he can team fight. Either way, he has multiple ways to win the game, of course, in his strategy. His laning phase is pretty decent, he is really safe and can poke with his Q. Of course, he does fall off super late game because people start getting Zhonya's and QSS, so that kind of screws up him a bit. But you're also forcing enemies to buy a QSS, which gives magic resist, and Zed doesn't really do that much magic damage except for his passive. But other than that, he's still really good. And at number 3, we have Gambit from the X-Men. So this guy, I like a lot of things he can do. He has a low cooldown stun, he has a global ganking ultimate, and he can push waves really easily at level 9. Red card and then throw your Q. But one item that's really good on him is the Luden's Echo. This item gives him a lot of stats he needs. Movement speed for, kiting, AP to do damage, and Luden's Echo is fairly good on people who can poke at a long range. Even if he doesn't want Luden's Echo, okay, let's talk a little bit about the tank meta and him. So assassins are usually his weakness, they can get on him and burst him out, but against tanks he's got movement speed to kite around them and of course gold cards to lock them down. As long as he's in the team fight and in the back and surviving, he's going to be very threatful against the enemy team. He also has a semi-global ultimate so he can go split push if needed and of course teleport to the team fights if needed in there too, causing a lot of map pressure on the enemy. Although there are a few weaknesses he has, of course, is getting bullied in lane and being an easy gank since he doesn't have any escapes, and he's kind of more single damage focused. And he's kind of more single target damage focused because of his W, and his Q only really hitting that one person usually, unless you're lucky and hit other people. But other than that, I do feel like he's really strong. And number 2 is going to be LeBron. And so what's up with LeBron? Okay, so the way I see it is a lot of high skilled players will definitely abuse LeBlanc and abuse her snowballiness once she gets a lead, since she can dominate her lane and go roam into other lanes to get kills there. And of course, if you're a jungler, it is very easy for you to get the kill on LeBlanc's laner, since you know that she has a gap closer and a snare. Once she gets into the mid game, there's going to be picks everywhere since her cooldowns are low, her burst is high, and she can take out an enemy swiftly. One thing about her is even though if she doesn't get a kill and just gets a huge chunk on an enemy, her team can get map pressure off that and go for towers or contest dragon or baron or whatever. Since someone is low and if the enemy engage on them, what would be basically a 4v5 since that 5th player probably back. So she's really good in that aspect of just making picks around the map. Although one thing I don't like about her is how meh she is when she's behind. She needs AP to do damage. In teamfights there's way better champions than her. And she has to be really careful of not getting outplayed. For instance, Ahri landing a charm on her while she's pressing W and then all of a sudden she dies. But other than that, she's pretty good. And at number 1 we do have Ariana Grande, and if you want it, be faker. Should've said it before. And I tried to hide it, but I feel like she's gonna be number 1. So Luden's Echo is actually a pretty good item on her. She can kite and poke a little bit more, and she does have a lot of spells to cast, of course, too. So she can get those Luden Echo charges easily. But of course, not talking about that item and just talking about the champion herself. What does she bring? Well, she still is an assassin. Even though her damage was nerfed, she can obviously assassinate someone with all of her spells. And once she doesn't have her ultimate, she can just kite people with her Q, land some charms, get a pick, and of course poke the enemy with her Q and kite them along with it, since her Q gives her a lot of movement speed. And with that Q giving a lot of movement speed, she's actually pretty hard to gank, especially when she hits level 6. And yeah, she's just really consistent. I do feel like she's more consistent than LeBlanc for sure. Alright, so honorable mentions, first up is going to be Katarina. Definitely a really good champion for team fighting, as she's going to get many resets in those team fights and clean up. Luden's Echo also helps her because she can spam her spells quite frequently with those resets. Her health did get nerfed in a previous patch before, but other than that, she's pretty good. Next up is going to be Urgot. So I've actually only seen one person use him in the mid lane, and that was Keen, and he excelled really greatly on that champion. And obviously I feel like other people are using him in the AD carry role, but I haven't seen one yet. But yeah, I think he's good against certain matchups like Zed, or basically a heavy physical damage team from the enemy. But that's about it. I wouldn't use him against a magic resist team since he can't build like a mana item that gives magic resist. Next up is going to be Annie in Wonderland. So biggest thing I find really good about her is her Tibbers flash in teamfights and basically win after that. Because if she gets a really good ultimate on like 2 or 3 guys, it's basically won. And of course her ganks are pretty easy since all she needs is that stun to burst someone and then follow up from her team or herself. Next up is going to be Diana. So I really like her mid game because she's really good at assassinating squishies and of course being really tanky. And yeah, I really like her mid game. She kind of falls off late game because a lot of people can survive her initial burst, and she's also put into a sticky situation if she doesn't kill her target, as she'd be up front in the backline of the enemy with no spells to kill anyone else. Next is going to be AP Kaguma. So Luden's Echo applies to his ultimate, which is really long range, and that adds extra damage to his poke. And he basically scales with levels since his level 16 ultimate is really strong. But there are big cons about AP Kaguma, and that is he has no escape, so it's really easy to assassinate him. He also needs a team to peel for him, so if everyone's just diving in and someone gets to him, he's gonna die. There's really nothing he can do by himself, he needs a team to protect him. Lysandra, she's a bit there still, but I think she's kind of falling out of flavor. And now there's Ziggs. I think he's really good. Chalice is stronger, and his mana cost on his Q got a little bit weaker. Plus Luden's Echo, so I think he's pretty decent. And then there's Cho'Gath. I think he's really good, especially once he gets ahead because he becomes really tanky and has really good AP ratios. He's also a decent counter to some champions, but I do feel like his early game is really weak. Then there's Lulu. I feel like she's more of a top laner, but whatever. And again, Luden's Echo kind of gives her a bit more damage. She doesn't have that much damage in the middle. She's more of a support middle. So yeah, that's about it. She's really good at making her team really healthy and tanky. Next up is going to be a new segment called Avoid. So first up is going to be Azir. You may have seen him once in the LCS, but no, don't pick him. His base damage is so weak, and the only way he is useful is if he has items. And next up is going to be Ryze rework, and for sure he's much more fun to play, but he's just so bad right now. Q is a skill shot, and he's only useful when he casts 5 spells and uses his passive. And all his mana ratios got nerfed, so he right now is just in a bad place. Hey guys, so thank you guys for watching this video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you guys did enjoy this video, maybe you'll enjoy jungle tier list, top lane tier list, and AD carry tier list. And of course, jungle isn't released yet, so be sure to look out for that. But the other 2 are right there, so click those 2. And again, thank you guys for watching this video. I hope you guys enjoyed it, and I'll see you guys next time.